Welcome to Movie of the Year, the only podcast that has the science and the screaming to absolutely determine what the best movie of any given year is. We are focusing on the year 2001, and I am your host, Books. Some of you might be wondering who I am, what I've done with Mike, Ryan, and Greg, and the truth of the matter is I have taken over their show, and that is all you really need to know. Like every good spy knows, if I told you more, I'd probably have to kill you. And while my codename may be Books, I'm very qualified to help figure out what the best movie of 2001 is, which is why I have given myself absolute permission to take over this show. Accompanying me to help with some of the science and most of the screaming, we have super spy Katelynn. How are you?
Hi. Yes, I am here, and I'm ready to sneak around any corner and scare you, but not bad. It's a good scare. It's like a nice, like, restarting my heart, and I feel like I'm ready to conquer the world now kind of vibe, right?
Do you like better than a cup of coffee?
Yes. Actually, that's what's going to be on my tombstone, and that's actually what is tattooed on my wrist.
Can you be codename Folgers? Can we please?
Codename Folgers.
I just think of Folgers, and I just think of that one.
The incest commercial?
Yeah, the incest commercial.
Yeah, and that's what I would like to associate with you.
Oh, man.
You remind us of incest, and you're the best part of waking up.
Oh, wow. Gee, thanks.
All right, you might have heard another voice out there. That is not super spy Katelynn just doing an awesome job of being talented and talking two voices. We are also joined by secret agent Cassie.
Hey, what's up? I am here to bring, you wanted the science of the chaos. No, you wanted the science of the screaming.
I wanted
here for
the science
chaos.
of the screaming. Oh, damn it. You got to prep me with what gadgets and gear you're bringing to our spy adventures.
Dude, I'm bringing the whole arsenal, okay? I actually want to bring the chaos and the cool. So can I go by codename like Kickflip or like Christ Air? Or like...
I feel like it's a bit cheating that you got to pick both your code name.
Let me pick everybody's code name real quick.
Because you went with awesome for yours, and you went for incestuous.
Yeah.
We let her she said she wakes up and jumpstarts everybody's heart, okay? I didn't just pull that out of nowhere. I wasn't just like, hey, Katelynn, incest, okay? She laid the groundwork.
Incest? I didn't grab a cousin and like throw that out. No. You came over here and gave that to me, Agent Kickflip.
I gave you Folgers and then you made the connection all on your own, okay?
Oh, that is true. You know what? We have a little bit of time to work out our code names and figure out maybe what we're going to finalize them with. Mine is definitely Books. That's non-negotiable. That won't change, but maybe yours will. I'm considering Kickflip. I'm not too sure, Cassie. If that's
okay, but did you put enough consideration into Christ Air?
Christ Air is much better.
Agent Christ Air.
It's pretty rad, right?
Agent Christ Air and Folgers, it is. It's done. I'm sorry. Thank you both for joining me.
I've already won this game. I know we're here to win like your best friend title. I don't care about it. I already won with this code name.
You could think that, but the truth is you really are here to determine what the best movie is for 2001 and to compete to be my best friend. And that is entirely up to me. And I was going to give you some points just for coming up with code names, but you've lost them already preemptively by being so cocky. We are a spy team. We need to work together. So try to work on that for this.
Right.
But I'm still going to be glad that you joined. You're here and agreed also to take over the show. And today we are going to be discussing the very important, maybe even, dare I say, the most important film of 2001. And that is Spy Kids. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on Spy Kids? I need to know.
Well, Spy Kids, when I first watched it, it definitely, I would say, inspired a generation. And it was my generation of children. To let us know that we can do anything. These movies are super cool. Like, yeah, there's James Bond out there, but adults don't have to be the only spies. There can be these kid spies. We could be spies. There's a spy inside of all of us that can take down people and save our parents. So, I fucking loved these movies back in the day, and I watched it way too many times. So going back and rewatching this again was just a delight.
The rewatch was a whole new experience because as a kid, you just focus in on the cool parts. I was amazed by how little of the story I knew. Like, I couldn't tell you the plot of Spy Kids at all at any point. I could tell you about all their cool gadgets and that there was like a creepy dude. Like, that is what I knew about Spy Kids. And then watching it for the plot, whole different game.
Wow. It was incredible rewatching it.
I actually went through and asked two family members and then like three other friends. So we're around the same age we were when Spy Kids, the first movie, came out, and asked them what they remembered from the movie, and their immediate answer was thumb thumbs. And that was it. Just thumb thumbs.
The thumb thumbs are ingrained in my mind forever. If anything ever looks like a thumb, the only thing that comes out of everybody's mouth is just like, hey, thumb.
You know the thumb people from Spy Kids, guys? Everyone knows them. And you know what? I forgot completely, blacked out completely that they put the thumbs in like full ninja gear. And they had like, they even had like a little eye slit so they could see, even though these are fucking thumbs that have no eyes.
They
don't have eyes. They are just like 5 thumbs put together.
I have to think, like, I don't think I remembered too much about the thumbs, but rewatching them basically headbutt through windows with their giant thumb heads was an absolute pleasure.
It made me realize, I think I was a dumb kid. And it's because of the thumbs and the spy gear, because I definitely didn't put together that they were thumbs. I don't think as a kid, like, I was just like, hey, look at those spies, even though they're clearly I was just like, wow, that's some beefy spy men.
They're basically in a mitten. They're like, and it's 5 fingers. It's a fucking mitten that they're in. They're ninja gear.
But they like even have like knuckle lines and they are full on thumbs, and you were fooled enough into the as a 9-year-old Cassie, you genuinely thought.
I thought they were just beefy spy men, okay? They were completely covered. How was I to know? They weren't in their signature red. It's like Clark Kent. Once you put a thing a little bit different, it's a completely different person to me.
Very true. I like
that. That does make sense.
Thank you. I'm just trying to make it seem like I'm not a fucking idiot. I'm trying to establish myself here.
But rewatching it, I personally really liked it for what it was for an adult, because as a kid, of course, you love it because of all the spy gear. But as an adult, I feel like there was so much that they put in there that was like subtle hints like to spy movies that was almost like a parody to a spy movie for the adults. And I do love what they did with it. And I felt like it even translated for adults. So that was really fun.
I think what lives up to this film is I actually like the director actually says that it was made to be a movie that feels like a little kid wrote it and directed it and shot it. And that's what makes it work. Because if we got like all of this kid stuff from the perspective of an adult, it would come off like unbearingly cheesy. But the fact that it comes through the eyes of a kid, when you watch it, you kind of adapt to that kid mindset automatically. And it just makes it so enjoyable even as an adult.
I think that was the most surprising part to me, because I remember my parents didn't hate this one, and like I thought going back to it, I was like, is it going to ruin it for me? And that was the part that like it was so, I think, so over the top. There were so many things about it that made it where it was just like, hey, this is still a stand-up movie. Like it knew what it was and it nailed it.
Yep.
It was very good. I did love Antonio Banderas having his tiny mustache, and that was his like disguise. Was the tiniest mustache that he had to tape on every single time.
A whole new person to me. It got me.
So many wigs in that first like retelling story, and he just has a flippin' the skinniest mustache too. It's not even a handlebar. It doesn't have beefiness to it. It's just this tiny little
right above the lip.
Approximately 1 centimeter.
There's so many dramatic moments of him like pressing it down a bit more and then tearing it off, and you're just like, that mustache makes it.
I feel like that was his audition. They were like, rip off this tiny mustache on your face and let's see how you do it. And he fucking nailed it. He sold it.
Sold. All right, I think it's time for us to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this movie, and specifically those two parents that we talked about. And we're back. Spy movies have pretty much been a go-to film genre since cinema began, but in 2001, director and writer Robert Rodriguez transitioned from directing mostly R-rated films to writing and directing this film, possibly the first film, about two children finding out their parents are international spies and must dive into the spy field themselves to save them from an evil genius who wants to use an army of children to take over the world. Or something. Honestly, the villains never reveal their plans fully, aside from wanting an army. With a cast including Antonio Banderas, Cary Gugino, Alan Cumming, Tony Shalhoub, Danny Trejo, Cheech Marin, and even a surprise appearance by George Clooney in the very end. The film centers...
Listen to those names.
The Clooney.
This film
is espresso.
It was such a surprise. This film actually spends the most time, too, with the least known actors at the time, which is Alexis Penavega and Daryl Sabara. The movie opens with a bedtime story of the two spies who fell in love and started a family. Ingrid, their mother, is very insistent that they were better off after settling down, but definitely not living happily ever after. Later, we see that the two kids are required to complete an obstacle course trainings every single morning without ever knowing why. Taste buds, I ask you this. Is this really a film about spy kids joining their parents in the spy world? Or is it a film about two spy parents who can't let go of their glory days and are trying to force this lifestyle on their children to live vicariously through them?
I think you just fucking hit the nail on the head. And I think me watching it as an adult realized that this isn't just like, oh, these kids like all of a sudden knew all these like great things and like are able to become spies. No, their parents were grooming them for this. Like they have made them practice for all this stuff and done all these trainings so that when the time comes, they'd be able to protect themselves and live
while still claiming that they have abandoned their spy life, which is the funniest part.
The weirdest part was that they were clearly training them. They still had like all the fucking spy gear. Their dressers were little like spy computers and shit. They were checking spy shit every day. And they were like, this is our past. We don't want the kids to know of this. And I was like, one of these isn't true. And you know what? I think a person who dedicates their whole fucking house to spy gear, you know which one is untrue.
You figure it out. I don't think as a kid I ever focused on it. I was like, no, they're just required to still have their makeup vanity counter be a spy check-in center. That makes sense.
I thought I just got that as an adult. Like, I thought I could just go grab that at IKEA. I was like, that's just a certain type of adult who wants the spy gear thing. Give me that at IKEA. Like, I was waiting for that.
I mean, like, now you can get those mirrors and stuff that have the interactive, like they have those working like mirrors and stuff like that.
But like you don't unlock it with your eyeshadow, and that's a bit disappointing.
You're so fucking right.
That has keyboard clicks on it. Like that part was so good. Man,
like watching this as an adult, you'd probably like look for unrealistic things in any sort of kid's spy movie. You're like, that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen. I genuinely think the most unrealistic thing about this movie is that they had this home for years, raised two children in it, and the kids never accidentally opened their spy secret things because kids press everything. Like, what children are not going around just pressing all these buttons and also accidentally revealing spy stuff?
Their chair is on fucking like rails,
a clear rail,
rails that the kids would have tripped over so many times. Like the chairs, they move, but they're also on fucking rails. Like.
It's just like, there was so much cool stuff in that house. That house is so big and so rad.
And we only got to see a part of it, which I know in the later Spy Kids, so we do get to see more, but but
in the very beginning, we see like nothing except for that awesome obstacle course, which I definitely wanted as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I felt like a great way to wake up. I think that's why I push my alarm so many times, because I don't have like an obstacle course that I gotta go through. Yeah. That would probably solve it.
It would definitely solve it. Unless you had warts, of course, because warts were I feel like there was a big theme of warts in this whole movie.
I didn't know.
I didn't realize that. Like, I remembered that he had band-aids all over his hand, but I didn't know, like, warts were the sign of his weakness and nerves and scaredy cat ways.
You could tell that he was so fearful. He was just so fearful. He would sweat all the time, and that's, of course, how you get warts.
That's warts, baby.
That's warts.
There was that part where, and also in that obstacle course, when he, he falls and his sister's like, you just fell 16 feet, enjoy being a pancake. I hate that you're still alive, essentially.
Yeah.
And then he straight up tries to throw a weight at her head.
Yeah.
Watching that as an adult, I was like, hey, he tried to murder her.
Yeah. I feel like they were raised with like a lack of boundaries on what hurts individuals, though, because their parents were raising them to be spies. And so they were like, just, throw whatever weapon you can find at people. They'll bounce back up. Like, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's beautifully wild.
But yeah, I desperately wanted the obstacle course as a kid. I had no idea that this was essentially like forcing their children into the same path. And it genuinely hit me hard this time, listening to the mother recount this story, her own love story, and insist, like, the daughter's like, and they lived happily ever after. And she's like, no. Definitely not.
No, it's fucking hard over here. But I'm going to say it's okay.
Yeah. What is their... I can't remember it now, but isn't their motto like, it takes work to be a family or something like that? What is... They say it at the end, too.
Yeah, but like families, that's what's harder to, like, keep together or work for.
Listen, sometimes you fucking hate your family, and you really got to work to keep them together.
Essentially, the, like, whole moral of this story is that yeah, being a spy, living life on the edge, almost dying every day, piece of cake. Having a little brother is the worst fucking thing in the world because we see it repeated.
Yeah, we do. That's the constant theme, 100%. And also, but like, if you had a little brother that was a warty little monster, like a little frog, like, you got to be ashamed of that one. And he dresses like a magician. Come on.
Also, he won't sleep in his own room. He's like 9 years old, and you have to share a bedroom with your little brother. One of the first things I noted watching this, I was like, "Why the fuck are they sharing a room? They're like adult
they have a huge
children,
house,
and their house is a mansion." And then it's like revealed that he won't even sleep in his own room. I'd be pissed as an older sister too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%.
Well, she is pissed because she's pissing her pants and she wears diapers at night. And
fucking burn, Carmen. Suck that.
Suck it, Carmen.
I forgot all about that as an adult too, and that one line came out. Well, they said like one of them, the parents, when they were kidnapped, they were like, "We left our 2 children, and one of them's still in diapers." I was like,
"Yeah,
what?"
Yeah, yeah. I brought up at that moment. I had to bring up a photo of those kids to re-look at them, and I was like, "These are adults. They should be paying taxes. Why is one of them in diapers?" Like, this is entirely cannot happen.
Why would a kid that old still be in diapers at night? You know, it's so weird.
Oh my god!
People didn't identify with kids with warts, and also who need to wear diapers at nighttime when they're a little bit older. You know.
Oh, I'm sorry we're dunking on these kids so hard. Is there something you want to admit right now?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Did this give you like courage that you really could be a spy as a Butterfinger warty piss pants child?
Turned to Cassie, and I remember the warts part so much because I did have warts as a kid. And like,
you did say that.
I did have warts as a kid, and I was like, "Oh my god, there's like a prominent kid in the TV show that I watch that has warts too. Warts are fucking normal. Oh, there's a kid who pisses themselves still. Oh, me too. High five, both of you guys." And they're spies. You can be a hero and still piss your pants at night. That's what I learned, and I think I took that to heart, and here I am. And I think it turned out well.
You were never the target audience for like anything other than this film.
In this movie?
And Shark Boy and Lava Girl, but we'll talk about that at a different time.
That's a different topic for a different time. But I don't know if they pee their pants or have warts in that film. But this one, it seemed odd to me as a kid. I also like suffered as a kid with like secondhand embarrassment. So I distinctly remember after watching this movie again, as an adult, being like, "Oh yeah, as a child you cringed throughout those moments because you got embarrassment for those children who were still peeing their pants and having warts." So
watching this movie, I thought of you because you said your sister would always get embarrassed of you and stuff like that. And in this movie, Carmen is always embarrassed of her little brother Junie because, you know, he is this warty little kid and she's at school. She has all these friends. He doesn't have any friends, and she kind of makes fun of him while he's at school. So I was thinking of you because I know you've said a lot of like, with your sister, that's how kind of like how she treated you, or like she made sure that you looked good or something like that.
Yeah, she was constantly trying to like force me into to be a different person so she wasn't embarrassed by me. And I will say that like one of the most realistic aspects I took away from this film was sibling relationships, because holy shit, it was so accurate. I feel like a lot of movies try to make it look like not that bad, but they are constantly just shitting on each other, and that is every sibling relationship I know. So
yeah. That was one of the best parts of this movie, besides, of course, all the rad spy gear. But it was just like, it relied so much on the fact that they are 2 siblings that are constantly bickering and like just like everything. They can never be on the same team. Like, if they can be on the same team for like 5 minutes and then they're going to fucking yell at each other. And like, yeah, I will die for this person, but also I need to make them look like a fool.
Yeah, I live really a little bit off of just pushing them down a little bit is how I survive. So
yes.
And it was brilliant, very well done. And I did appreciate that. I know
we talked
briefly
about just really quick. We talked briefly about the spies in love portion. Which I forgot how fucking a beautiful part of the beginning of that movie was, and it really just set up the whole movie. Because it talks about the love story of the mom and dad, and it's just absolutely wild. Like, there's a point in that flashback where the dad proposes to the mom, right, at the Eiffel Tower, and he slides the ring box across like a rail, and just like she catches it in her hand, and like that's how he proposes to her and stuff like that.
Yeah, dude. That gave me, like, as a child, I don't even think I paid attention to that.
No.
This moment, it almost gave me a heart attack. I was like,
it's gonna fall.
The Eiffel Tower.
The Eiffel Tower, that is an expensive ass ring. This is a rail. There's so much going on right here.
And he flicked it.
Yeah,
he didn't pass it.
No.
He flicked it.
Flicked it there.
So much confidence in that.
Living life on the edge.
How do you not say yes after a proposal like that, though? He just took every risk with his diamond ring to give to you.
Well, she said yes, and then at the wedding date, she got so nervous that she punched a swan ice sculpture in the neck and broke it.
Listen, I feel like that's normal.
Cold feet, perfectly natural, totally normal. I do appreciate that she tried to fix the swan sculpture.
She did try to fix the swan, and I need to hit it again. When they were getting married, they got invaded, and so the end
by
of
the entire army,
by the army,
so
many planes. But it's okay because they were ready for that because they had their heart parachutes, their double heart parachutes, and then the priest was able to bless the sky.
Goes back to the priest, says he's
finished the marriage while they're mid sky.
Love that moment because in my mind they got away in this like super speed like spy boat.
Yeah,
and they got away in
average boat.
Super, yeah, it's like a speedboat, but it's got the total like 90s, 2000s design on the back. Like it's something you can see at any lake during that time period.
Just married.
Yeah. They escaped essentially on a wave runner, and we're like, fucking look at these sick ass spies.
And those planes couldn't catch up with them all of a sudden now that they were on this average speedboat.
But I feel like that whole moment really set up the movie. Like this is where we are, and now you're here, you're in this, and let's go from here.
That movie honestly did. I took away, I think, one thing from childhood and adulthood, and that is that always have a wedding dress that you could sprint and jump off a cliff in. If your wedding 100%. Dress is not movable like that, you're not prepared for every possible situation. So
that's right.
Tell it.
And I think this is a good time for us to take a quick break. Thank you for joining in and talking mostly about this spy love story, which I hope someday still can be mine. I don't know if it can, but I'm hoping for it. And we'll take a quick break. And when we get back, we've got some exciting, I wanted to just say mountains to build.
Mount Rushmore.
And we're back ready to build a mountain, a Mount Rushmore specifically. And for this Mount Rushmore, we are going to be ranking, building, putting together the top child spies, heroes of movies past. So I really want you to just do your best, impress me. This is really where the voting for friendship comes into play, and I will be judging you. So specifically, I have a few people in mind. I'm going to get very disappointed if they don't make it on this Mount Rushmore. So no pressure.
I knew you would have people, and that's what's like been getting in my mind this whole time. I'm worried that I don't have them ready on the mountain, but I'm confident. I think I got your people.
Folgers is here and ready to deliver. I've got things ready. My heart is pumping. I'm gonna kill it.
I'm loving this confidence. Cassie, Katelynn, you both get points for just that confidence right off the bat. Every good spy needs to have just a bunch of confidence. So thank you. And Cassie, why don't we start with you? Who is your first Rushmore pick?
Fucking thank you so much for giving me the honor of letting to go first, because I got a slammy D. You're going to want to throw this one directly on the mountain, because books, I'm here to give you the one I feel like when you say child spies, the first one you think of, obviously Spy Kids. Mm-hmm. The second one you then obviously have to go to is Agent Cody Banks.
Yes.
Slammy D, I knew it. Thank you for letting me go first. I knew this was going to be one.
Cassie,
he's the first one.
You totally get a point. You don't even need to defend this. Agent Cody Banks is going right on this mountain. We're going to slap his face right up there.
Frankie Muniz looks so good.
Face. Frankie's got to go. I'm glad that you had Cody Banks at the top of your list. Dougal, I'm impressed that you had him at the top of your list as well, because Cody Banks was definitely at the top of my list for this Mount Rushmore. You passed. Brilliant
He was
job.
Such a good spy. He got the CIA to do his homework and chores for him.
Yeah, he did.
Is there a better spy than that? The CIA, who gets paid a lot of money, I'm assuming, they had to send him to go do chores so this child could solve their issues. That kicks so much ass.
So there's like a few things about Agent Cody Banks that I absolutely love. And one is that he had the CIA not only do his homework, but also teach him how to talk to girls and flirt, which I could have desperately used as a kid. Like, I needed that training. And then the other was the fact that like he basically got inducted as a spy through a summer camp. And that was also a dream of mine as a kid. I just thought that could happen somehow too. So,
like it's like if you got noticed for doing the presidential testing at school.
Yes.
That's what I always thought it was for. I was like, this is how they find spies. This is my chance.
How to do it.
Same. And they never came and visited my family and said, we have to take Mackenna now. It was very disappointing. So thank you, Katelynn. Who is your first spy submission?
All right, so Cassie started off really, really strong with our number one pick.
I don't know how you're going to top it.
So I was trying to think of a spy in the same kind of era. So 2001. I didn't get one in 2001, but I found one in 99 that I feel like was very prominent and really made a print on my life. And I'm going to go for the baby geniuses from the movie Baby Genius.
Fuck, that's very good. I wanted to argue and hate whatever you were going to throw out, but fucking Baby Geniuses is very good. I had a weird obsession with that movie as a kid.
Same.
I never saw that movie, so I'm kind of disappointed that I don't feel qualified to officially judge
I can give you
this.
a quick synopsis. They were just super smart babies, and they would lose their smartness once they gained their consciousness, basically.
Once they were of walking age, they became dumb idiots.
Dumb. That's brilliant. I love this already. Okay, I'm sorry. Baby Genius is just going to go right up there because I love the plot that you've described.
They were spies too.
It was legitimately, essentially, all babies knew the cure to cancer, essentially, and then forgot it.
Couldn't tell it to people because they were babies.
Yes.
And then instantly forgot everything once they were toddlers.
I hope this movie was written by some 3-day sleep deprived parent who was like, you're screaming because you know the secret to the universe and you just can't convey them to me. I know it.
I understand.
They were probably, I think babies are talking backwards, just like all the little Floop creatures.
Yes. Floop floogies are also baby speak. It does sound similar. Kind of a combination to Floop floogies and the little robot children before they get brains.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cross between those two. Katelynn, yes, you got a point because Baby Genius, they went straight up on Mount Rushmore. We've already got 2 heads taken. I feel like I'm maybe doing a bad job because I'm just way too hyped about hearing your ideas. Cassie,
we're just so good at this. It's
maybe
not
that's it. You guys are just so good at coming up. We don't even need to go through some maybes. We're just gonna sail right through this and get the list. This mountain's gonna be built in no time. Cassie, can you hit me with another child spy?
Okay now. So this one, it might not be a slammy D, but I'm ready to sell it to you, books. So when you think of a spy doesn't technically need to be a spy. They don't need to be hired by the CIA or a little baby genius. Sometimes they just need to be a badass kid who takes down bad adults. Mm-hmm. And when you think of that, I think the first person that pops into every mind is Kevin McAllister from Home Alone. Because he sets all these booby traps. Everybody immediately thinks of him taking down those 2 dumb robber fools. So maybe not a spy, but a total badass kid.
All right, I completely agree with you, badass kid. I had him on my maybe list, so I am thinking on that with your maybe list. He's going to go as a maybe, though, because I feel like he doesn't really work with a team, and he doesn't go beyond his own home. So I feel like some of the qualifications are hero to save, beyond just your immediate possessions.
Listen, Agent Cody Banks could drop him off somewhere. He's just a child who gets transported places he doesn't want to. And that, the other spies can get him there and then he can just take down adults.
Okay.
It's valid, but I'm going to say maybe he is the one that needs to be forced to go out. But once he's out, he has no choice. So.
Well, I like your enthusiasm. We're going to keep him as a baby. He might end up on the Mount Rushmore down the road if I really hate your future ideas. But,
okay.
That remains to be seen. For now, you're not going to get a point just yet. We'll see. Katelynn, do you have a better child spy that can knock off this Kevin McAllister, or is he going to stay?
I do. So this one came to my mind before even Cody Banks. But obviously Cody Banks is OG, the best out there spy. This one I would say is top number 2. And it's going to be Harriet the Spy. Did you ever watch that movie?
Who the fuck is
Harriet? I totally
Harriet?
watched Harriet the Spy.
God, okay.
I knew she would.
Cassie, you didn't watch Harriet the Spy?
Nobody knows what this is. You guys are saying nonsense. This is a made-up thing.
It was in 2001 as well. It was around the same era.
I recognized one Spy Kids during this era. I'm sorry that I was faithful and true and not with fucking Harriet.
Or you just weren't a real spy and didn't devour all of the spy content that you could.
Oh, she was before times. She was 96.
I was going to say, I think
Spy.
she was a 90s. She was one of the like true first spy movies, but Spy Kids like put
For
spies
us,
on
yeah.
the maps. So
I don't know. Was she a subpar spy? Because she sounds like it to me.
She had like a magnifying glass. She was fucking really
That's
cool.
not spy gear. I have a magnifying glass.
You could be a spy. That means
she brought spy,
accessibility.
She brought the possibility of being a spy to everyone's level. You didn't need a jetpack. You just needed a magnifying glass. That's it. Like,
and you can take down the rich kids too.
Okay, I'm into taking down the rich kids, but what about a spyglass? Like, is she burning ants? What is she doing with her?
To be honest, I really don't remember.
I don't remember much. I just
fair.
remember liking Harriet the Spy, but I think
Same.
it was almost more like she was crossover with investigator status. She was kind of like a Nancy Drew meets
That's
spy.
what it sounds like.
Yeah.
She sounds unremarkable. And when I said Kevin McAllister, you all knew who that was. I'm just saying it. I'm just throwing that out there.
I mean, she created a spy catcher club at her school too. And she basically creates a league of spies at her school, and
So wait, she creates
takes
a league
down
of
the
spies
elitist rich
to
kids.
catch spies or to just...
To take down the elitist rich kids is what Wikipedia says.
According to Wikipedia, because we don't actually remember this movie, we just know
can't
that
remember.
it exists. I don't remember shit from it. I just know the title, and I remember seeing it a few times as a kid. And because you said it, and I immediately recognized the title, but honestly, beyond that, I don't remember anything about this movie. It's gonna have to go in the babies because it didn't stay with me.
That's the right choice. That's the right choice.
I'm
You are such a good host.
Sorry, I just don't remember shit about Harriet other than her movie was also her name.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotta love that.
Cassie, can you come bring us another possible future genius spy kid?
Yeah. So I dipped my toes in the maybe pile. I wanted to see, I got too cocky. I just wanted to see my abilities. So I'm back here ready for another Slammy D.
Yes.
And this is, she was a spy. She had to hide her alternate life. And she just she went out, she handled her stuff. I'm of course talking about Kim Possible. Oh. Everybody knows this one. She's got her own little ringtone. Mm-hmm. You call her, beep her if you want to reach her.
If you want to ping, it's okay.
And
Thank you.
She was a total teen. You know, she had to worry about school, homework. She wanted to go to the mall. All these issues, but yet she was still out kicking ass. She would always take down creepy Dr. Draken and the hot as hell Shigo. Yeah. It was, God, I feel like she just has to go on there. She's an inspiration to, I think, our generation.
Yeah.
And she follows so much true spy, genre needs, like the computer man, the man at the desk kind of need for a spy
Wes,
life.
I think his name was?
Yes, I think it was Wes.
Very, very IT name.
And it that was kind of how I learned that every good spy team needs, a man behind the desk.
IT.
You need that help. Sidekicks, and then just transitioning back to her ordinary life every single time she was back from the mission. Or sometimes in the middle of the mission. So yes, Kim Possible was on my list. Definitely go straight up on the mountain. That was brilliant. Ooh. Cassie, you get a point.
Ooh. Yes.
And Cassie is officially in the lead to be my best friend.
God, it feels good. I do have a request. Can we put next to Kim Possible, can she have the little naked mole rat?
I've got to have him.
Cool. I just want to make sure. I'm just painting the whole mountain here. I do want Rufus up there.
Rufus already has a prime spot on her little shoulder of the bust. Perfect. Don't worry.
Okay,
Katelynn, who's your next Mount Rushmore pick?
All right, we're already on badass bitches that need to be on this mountain right here.
Badass bitches.
That are children. And I think there's one that it has a secret identity. She has to save the world all the time, has to sneak around, make sure no one finds her identity while also dealing with the regular everyday things that a teen does. And I think Squirrel Girl should go up on this mountain.
Okay. That seems like a personal pick.
It does seem a bit like a personal pick. And she also kind of falls into the superhero category.
Yeah. I thought it was heroes / spies what we're doing.
Heroes is in saves the world, but not heroes is in has super
not heroes
abilities.
As in a tier. Oh.
The cheerleader that saves us all.
Cheerleaders that, throws herself off of buildings for science.
Which she goes into the Kim Possible type category. So, I mean, I could throw Hayden Panettiere out there too. Heroes.
Shit, save your good picks, bro.
All right, we're gonna put Squirrel Girl up on the maybe. I'm not sure I'm convinced. I feel like she's more likely to join the superhero ranks of all time instead of the spy hero ranks of all time.
She is undeniably a good superhero. If that was the Rushmore, she's very good. But
yeah. Cassie, we'll go around for our last round. Cassie, can you give me your last Rushmore pick?
Yeah, my last Rushmore, it might be a bit of cheating just because it's a 3-in-1 combo that I got for you right now, but they are a team, they are a unit. I'm, of course, picking the spies that, like, I feel are another iconic one to us. It's Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup, of course.
Oh,
the 3 Powerpuff Girls.
Go for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh my God.
Did you not think of those?
I didn't think of them.
Can we go for honorable mentions already so we can try to get this last spot?
I'm having a crisis. The fact that I didn't try to throw the turtles out there whenever I could, and I don't.
Count as spies though?
They're not really. They do have to live in the sewers. They have an alternate life, and they do kick
wear
ass.
eye coverings so they can hide their identity.
They have high tech gear.
Yeah, there's that. I love Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup though. There's also Boss Baby. I'm just gonna throw out that one too. The Boss Baby. I did look up child spies, and Boss Baby he did pop up.
Is he a spy? I thought he was a corporate manager.
You know what? Who really knows? I didn't see it. I didn't watch that one.
But he's in a suit. So.
He's in a suit, which means he does have an alternate identity.
I think he was a spy. I think Boss Baby was the whole point was that
that's why he had a suit.
Yeah, they were secret CIA agents that no one knew, and didn't a family adopt a baby thinking it was just a baby?
Yeah, and I think he was a full adult, and it was a whole Benjamin Button type thing, which, again, can I throw out Benjamin Button as well to go on this? Because at one point he was a baby. I don't know about the spy thing.
I don't think he saved a single person.
As child.
Does he qualify as child or adult, though? What part of the movie are you watching?
He's
I didn't see that movie
It's
either.
just like any person aging. He just does it backwards.
That's a bad human being, is all that is.
Failed at the growing up or growing down part.
Uglier than any other newborn baby.
Yeah.
Because he was born old as shit.
He was. Yep.
Wow. I'm gonna stick true with mine. I do feel bad about it. I'm gonna go for my Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup, even though the Ninja Turtles are.
As my last pick, I will do Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so your last pick is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Oh shit, those are.
Yeah, so you got Harriet the Spy, Squirrel Girl, Kevin McAllister, Bubbles, Blossom, Bubble,
Powerpuff Girls. We're
and
just going to call them Powerpuff Girls.
Powerpuff Girls,
Boss Baby, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And do not forget the Boss Baby.
All right, since this is all about me, I get to choose entirely. I am going to go with Powerpuff Girls, which means Cassie gets the last point because I do think they qualify a bit more as spies.
Okay, yeah.
I think they're heroes. They fit in the hero category too. They don't have an alternate identity.
They are tiny,
but they
they're made of sugar, spicy, and
they
nice.
kind of respond to calls, right?
Yeah, they're essentially They were their names are either stripper names or code names. So nobody is Bubbles, Blossom, and Buttercup without being a spy.
Are teenagers and not children. So
yep,
yeah.
They're kind of
Cody
on that
Banks.
adult. Yeah, that's true. He's kind of a teenager too. But that is it. I have to say before I go off these honorable mentions and our final Mount Rushmore, I'm very disappointed that no one chose anyone from Codename Kid Next Door.
Oh my God.
I almost did.
That was pretty sad for me. And you know what? I completely understand that I would have been the only one to consider Mikey from the Goonies as a child spy. But I kind of feel like he fits that as well. But our honorable mentions are Kevin McAllister from Home Alone, Harriet the Spy, Squirrel Girl, Boss Baby, a film none of us have seen, but we apparently know a bit about, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And our official Mount Rushmore is Agent Cody Banks started us off. Baby Genius, a film you two have seen, I have not seen, but now must watch.
Please do.
Kim
really
Possible, probably the spy we all related to the most as a kid because she was a girl and there weren't a lot of those. And then finally, Powerpuff Girls, superhero kind of spies, kind of superheroes, not really sure, but I like them. All three of their heads are going to be smushed into the spot of one though because there are three of them and we only have one head spot left. That's how this is going to work. And we're going to take another quick break. When we get back, we're going to get back to the show that we're actually supposed to be talking about and not a bunch of other shows that we're not. So join us in a few minutes. And we are back. So I mentioned this earlier. I still stand by it. I do not think anyone can remember Spy Kids without recalling the strange army of thumbs. And thumbs, right? That's just the first thing that comes to mind when you recall this movie. But if you really dig into it and you consider the saying, I'm all thumbs is used when someone cannot successfully hold, grab, open anything. It could be said that this army was literally created to fail. You can have all the gripping strength you want of a thumb, but without a pinky, you are useless. Taste buds, I ask you this. Is the failure of the thumb army arguing that not only are hands stronger even with our tiny little other fingers, but that spy teams are stronger with our children? Is there a parallel happening here? Did I see that alone?
I think the thumbs are just like Floop. You learned that Floop and his fluglies, he just makes them because he thinks it's fucking cool for his TV show. And so I think the thumbs are definitely just here to look cool. And especially the fact that they have fat asses and they are dummy thick. Like they are just here to show off their assets and the 5 thumbs that they are. So I think we're not built for function. It was just for the looks.
Yeah, I do like your question. What I think they were really saying was that thumbs are the most useless appendage that you have and you can lose them, is what I took from it.
Which is the opposite of science, but I keep going.
Get rid of them. The only reason I need a thumb is to give a rad thumbs up and play heads up 7-up. Other than that, I don't need it. Get it off my body.
If we all gave up our thumbs, we would have enough thumbs to collect together to make a little mini thumb.
Oh my God.
You know what? It's worth it. I'm cutting mine off right now.
I'm donating it.
I feel like we've created a terrifying possible idea, but that is an option for us if we want a miniature thumb. Katelynn, I have to give you a point, and I keep going stuck back to this idea of their thick butts. I did not think of this really, but like, what part of the thumb are we seeing that make up those thick boys behind?
Nothing. It's dummy thick. Like, oh my God, I did not realize how fat their ass is until I rewatched this now. Like, watching as a child, I must have had just like blind eyes because I didn't see their ass, the fucking donk that these thumbs have.
Like the fact, I thought they couldn't walk because they are made of all thumbs. They can't walk because they are their ass is so fat.
Booty.
Shelf ass over here.
Like, it's the most insane. Like, there is some wild imagery in this one. Like, all the creations are insane.
Yeah.
And by far, I thought it was just the thumbs, but we can specifically, like Daredevil, bring it down to their ass is the only reason that they are insane.
Oh, that's the only bit. Okay, I was surprised to learn. In my mind, thumbs kind of existed like the other creatures existed, like clay creations almost, like transported. And I did not remember the scene where they're built robotically and the thumb heads are just being attached. And it kind of destroyed everything I loved about the thumbs because I like to think of them as this one whole unit that was like created together, and then to learn that they could just ditch arms and then get new ones sewn on by index finger lady.
It's
kind of disappointing.
The sexy finger,
the sexy nurse thumb. Are you kidding me?
But it was fingers.
Like a piggy. Yeah,
was it thumb? It was like index fingers.
No, thumbs are not sexy, so they had to make it a different finger because the thumb, not sexy.
Yeah.
True, though. You look at your own hands. What is the least sexy finger? It's your thumb. It's definitely your thumb. I also love that sexy finger nurse had sexy little nails, too. Like, they really completed the image that they just went all
she gets a manicure.
Yeah.
100%.
That really begs the question, who paints her nail? Is it Floop or is it one of these thumbs? Like, how do they hold the nail polish?
Yeah, they can't hold a nail polish.
Yeah.
Also, who cuts the thumb nails? Like, they're going to get out of control. That's a lot of thumbs you got to control.
Well, their bottom ones are probably good because they're running right on those nails.
Yeah, those are fucked up for sure. Those are like soccer toes.
Animal-like thumbs because they just kind of get regularly shaved as they run on concrete and whatever.
Those are full anteater is what those are. Constantly.
Just like digging into the ground. They probably have great little extra grip on those. If you think about it, who needs calluses?
Good calluses.
When you got little, like...
Can a thumb clap? They can't grab
slap each other together.
When
get two thumbs.
Their asses clap. That's all that matters.
That's right, they do. Fucking books, give yourself a point. That was so good.
Thank you. I will give myself a point. I fucking deserve it. So yeah, thumbs. I don't think their thumbs can clap, but their ass cheeks definitely do. And that's all we need to know about the thumbs.
We could get like a whole miniseries on this thumbs. And like this whole thing did not capitalize on the fact that these thumb people like have stuck with us for so long.
Yeah.
Like
they tried to like, there was so many like Spy Kids toys.
Yeah.
And I feel like they really didn't realize what they had with thumbs.
Yeah.
Because
they're like consistently, aside from the children's spies, they're probably the most consistent characters we see throughout the film are thumbs because they're attacking on the scenes. They're the ones like trying to get the brain from the kids. And then even in the end of the movie, when the good guys win, there's a thumb helping with dinner. Like,
that's right.
I forgot that they then helped make dinner. I forgot they brought the thumbs over into the family. We're all family.
They were kind of like little pets. They were just like, let's bring a thumb home, please, Mom. Can we?
But books, that is when they became competent. So I think you were right. It was them showing that you need to be together to be competent. You need a whole hand in order to make it. And I think you were right with that.
Listen, thumbs are no good alone. You got to have the pinkies. This spy family was no good alone. They got to have the babies. So that's all I'm saying. Like
Uncle Machete.
Uncle. Listen, family all together. You just needed to have Uncle Machete come in, forgive his baby brother for being needy as a baby brother is, and then all of them just unite as a family. Like, do you think they're truly stronger now that they work together?
Of course.
That's a proven fact, 100%.
Which, like, also leads to the stupidity of George Clooney's character thinking that you could just take the two kids on a mission without the parents. Like, clearly.
That's another thing, though. The whole George Clooney part, if we're here right now, I just need to talk about it for just a half second. Because as a child, of course, I knew who George Clooney was. Family knew who George Clooney was. The eye bar that was on there, on George Clooney, the fact that he just grabbed it and moved it, I, to this day, remember George Clooney for that role that he did and moved that thing. Like, it has fucked me up internally.
Honestly,
he took it away, the eye bar.
I did not even associate him with this movie until the very end. I forgot completely that he was in it. Did not remember that George Clooney. To be fair, this was 2001. So this was like, but this was like the same year that Ocean's 11 came out. So we had like George Clooney hitting the prime and also like just being in a Spy Kids movie as a little like tiniest role ever. Like he has 3 lines, just little cameo spot. And I love it.
That's what we need to focus in on. I don't know how they got him because this was Ocean's 11 George Clooney. And then they got him for still one of the funniest jokes out there. I still fucking laughed at the fact that he could remove that eye bar and then he put it back on. It still fucking stands up. That's still so funny.
It's so good. It's such a clever moment. And I'm pretty sure as a kid, being a dumbass little kid, I didn't get the comedy behind it. And I was just like, he just gave away, like, wasn't that protecting his identity? And he just gave no fucks and took it off his face. But then as an adult, I was like, holy shit, that's hilarious. That's great. That it just
it's good.
I thought it was funny for different reasons as a child. And then as watching it as an adult, it hit just a whole different way. And I feel like that's the whole movie. It's like, it was funny back then, but now it's like, oh, it's funny in a different way now.
Still funny.
As an adult, there's a lot of like moments that I did not remember, a lot of little bits of humor. And just like they really played up the parents' like romance and love too. And as a kid, I for sure don't remember that.
They played up the realness of marriage a lot. Like they were like, they didn't sugarcoat a lot of the things that a lot of other kids' movies did. They were like, no, marriage is hard. Like it's not like okay, but
parents
it's okay.
Give up everything when they have children. This is the harsh reality of
we
it.
gave up the favorite thing we ever do. It was time to settle down, and we're I guess okay with it.
It's fine. We're definitely over it.
The scene where she has to convince Antonio Banderas to bring her along on the mission, and he like essentially comes in his pants. Still hated to watch that one.
Yeah,
that one still bad for me.
That one was cringy as she's like whispering in his ear, and you can kind of hear bits. And he's just like, and you're like, oh, I'm uncomfortable right now. Please stop.
I didn't want to know this about parents when I was a kid. I still don't want to see this happen now.
Yep.
Nope, because I still identify with the children in this movie. I do not identify with the parents in the film. I don't think
still peeing in my bed, you know?
You identify on a different reason. I think there's different levels that we are identifying with the children of this film.
You had warts. You have warts? Okay.
But yes, we have gone on a whole adventure here. I have loved every bit. Are there any last thoughts about Thumbs, George Clooney that you want to jump in?
I would die for them all, and that's all. Like I would die for both of them.
The Flooglies were weird. The fluglies,
Fluglies
like
are
the thumbs were
weird,
cool.
but
The
thumb
fluglies
thumbs
were
are cool.
weird.
Thumb thumbs, honestly, I could see being very popular in like music videos today because like we are all about that twerking
yeah.
life, and if I could see thumbs twerk, I'd be really
my
happy.
God. Also, like the dinosaur blow up costumes. If I could be like put on a costume and blow it up and be a full thumb thumb, I would love that.
Like I said, I do not feel like they capitalized enough on the thumb thumbs. We could have had a whole series with the thumb thumbs, like in a way that the Minions were a thing.
We are
like,
almost at the 20-year anniversary of this movie.
Oh my
Can
God.
we bring back the thumb thumbs in honor of the 20-year anniversary?
You know what? If I dressed up as a thumb right now, I swear to God, I could go outside and people would know who I was.
Oh yeah,
Like if you go to Comic-Con and were a thumb, everyone would know what you were and what it was from. Like the thumbs have stuck with us, but not enough people have stuck with the thumbs. And I think it's time for us to stop turning our back on these guys. And
I
let
have
them
one
see the
other
light that they deserve.
question. Because every time I see the thumbs, even since a kid, it always reminded me. Did you guys have magician sets when you were a kid, or was that just the weird ass that I was?
You fucking nerd. Of course I didn't.
I didn't have one either. You're a nerd.
Damn it. My brother and I definitely had a magician set, and it was like all of those dumb tricks to like trick people to think you do magic. And they had these like fake thumbs you could put over your finger and it would make it look like a light was in it. The thumbs look very much like those fake light up thumbs too. So
I actually have a picture of myself. My brother had one of those magic kits, and I have a picture of myself with a fake thumb giving a thumbs up. And it's a great picture that I posted multiple times because it's a weird
very
thumb.
good. But they look like thumbs. So
yeah.
That just reminded me of that. I'm not sure I was that weird kid. I did have a magician set. I didn't have as cool of a vest as Junie did for his magician's outfit, though. So I feel like he wasn't even trying to dress up like a magician, and he just unintentionally did. And
No, that's the best part is they had mad money and they were like, pick whatever you want from the store. And he was like, I'm going to look like the nerdiest magician. And that's my dream. And he lived it.
He looked like a magician or a candy salesman.
I love that.
Like the
he
way
also
that it's striped.
Like, we're about to go on a mission to save my parents. I must have a bow tie.
See, oh God, it was a big occasion. You put the bow tie on,
but
for
like
big
bow
occasions.
ties, I don't know if you guys have worn them. They always make me feel like I'm choking, and that would not be the feeling I would want to have throughout saving my parents or going on a mission. Is that constant like, am I gonna just suffocate right now? Not sure. But I think it's time for us to take a quick little break. When we get back, we're gonna spend some dough and go on a nice little shopping spree. And we are back, and we are ready for our awesome mini little shopping spree throughout this film. In this little time period, we're going to get to go through the entire movie and just basically grab whatever the hell we want from this movie. God. And I think that's like the best gift I could give you guys for this particular film is that you get to just grab whatever you want and run away with it. And I might try to buy a thing or two on the shopping spree because it's just too good of an opportunity to pass up. So we started with Cassie last time. Dougal, I'm going to start with you. What is the first thing you are buying from this movie?
Oh my God. Well, the first thing that I think of is when they went to their safe house, they opened up the cabinets and the cabinets were empty. And then they closed them, they opened them back again, and they were completely filled, not with just anything, but the best food. And if not food, food that you can microwave and would turn into like McDonald's.
Straight Big Mac.
Straight fucking Big Mac, which was wild. So of course I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to take all of the cabinets from the safe house.
Okay.
Because I want unending food.
This was like not something I had considered whatsoever, but Katelynn, it is so on brand for you. And I'm just so impressed that you've maintained this foodie that you are. So you're going to get a point for choosing the most on brand thing that you could choose first right off the bat. Like, you didn't go for any of the spy gear or any of the tech.
Well, this is fucking spy gear. Like, I've never seen this in my real life, so it must be spy gear.
Cassie, what are you going to buy right off the bat?
Okay, right off the bat, I was worried that somebody else would take this. It's not going to be the biggest ticket item, but it is the thing that I always wanted as a kid. And I want the electric shock gumballs.
Oh, damn it.
I fucking want, like, every time I saw those, I was like, yeah, I do want that. That's a great idea, and that should exist, and I need it in my life.
That was top of my list as well.
Good. I'm glad we didn't go for big ticket items. We were just like, the weird stuff is what we want.
I wanted electro gum. I was like, I love that it somehow knows not to electrocute you. Even as it's glowing and sparking in your hand, you still have time to throw it at whatever you want, and then it will, destroy them.
water and electricity, you know how those cancel each other out. So it's not going to, like, your saliva's not going to activate it. That makes sense. It's
totally going to be safe. You just have to chew it a little bit.
Hold it for
once it hits air.
Spit it at something. Yeah. Well, no, because Junie's able to hold it in the palm of his hand for a little while.
He was holding it for a while. Yep. It knows soul bonds with
Once
you.
it gets your like saliva on it, you've like DNA'd with it. You fused some part of yourself with it, and it now has your intelligence. I think that's how it works.
That's 100% how it works.
Cassie, I'm torn on giving you a point because honestly, it was a great item, and I'm impressed that you chose one of the best items to steal. But I'm mad that you stole one of the few things I wanted to purchase. I only listed two things I wanted to purchase, and that was one of them.
That's rough.
Decided I wasn't going to take over the shopping spree, and I was going to let you guys have it. But I am still impressed that you picked out the one little item that I also really wanted. So, Cassie, you get a point.
Thank you.
And before you guys can steal it, I'm going to go ahead and shop and buy the other best thing that you can get, in my opinion. And that's going to be a jetpack. That's mine. I'm taking it.
Yeah.
The jetpack was my other item because it just seems so fucking cool. It's one of those few spy gadgets that you don't have to be coordinated to use, I think.
That one somehow, especially those jetpacks, like they knew where they needed to go. Like that one somehow was reading the situation and knew how to solve it itself.
Yeah, it slowed when it needed to. It let her stand on a billboard even while it was still technically going. Like, I don't know. I just needed that specific jetpack was probably the only one I could actually use. So, I'm jumping in.
That you picked a very good one. That was my next one because everybody wants a jetpack. They knew, like, spies, kids, give them a jetpack.
Yep. It's needed. It's the spy genre film. And we absolutely needed to have it. Katelynn, what are you buying next?
Oh man. Okay. So what I'm going to buy is, we see it early on in the film. It's the escape pod. Because it's an underwater escape pod, but it also kind of like flies a little bit, and it like has autopilot. It has a fucking poo-poo toilet in there,
and it announces that it's flushing your poop in the moment.
Yep, now flushing your poop.
And most importantly, it has a microwave for you with some snackies in there.
Also, some upper bunks up there. There's a lot of room, and it's like almost like having an RV. But even cooler because it could be a submarine at the same time. So I do want that.
That one's a boat submarine that's got hops.
Also convertible because it does have like a top that will come down and like.
Well, yeah, it's got to be badass. It's spy gear. They're going to make it look cool.
It does everything, essentially. I also love that it like will sing you a lullaby while you're on a mission so you can get some good, Mimi's time.
That's so right. I forgot about that.
It's an all around great item. And since now you have a vehicle and food. That's what you've got in this spy gear. I think you're set.
And a toilet.
You don't need anything yet. Yeah, you've got a toilet, but like she's got the cabinets too. So even when she leaves her little boat thing and goes home, she's just got permanent stash of like microwavable McDonald's. And that's pretty cool. Dougal, you get a point. I think that's a great item to steal. Cassie, back to you. What are you buying? What are you grabbing?
Okay. I think I'm now going to I want to buy that weird wacky gun thing that they didn't know how to use because there's a lot of mystery behind it. If for some reason it had like stuff that spins on it, like a little propeller, but with like little like flappy like things, like it wouldn't, if it slapped you, it wouldn't hurt. And somehow it was still a gun. I just need to know what it is. So I'm going to put that on my cart just for the mystery.
I do appreciate that. To be honest, it just looked like those little bubble guns with the lights.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm thinking what it was in actual, like, real life. But I do love that we don't know in spy terms what it's going to accomplish. And you're still going for it. You're not going to pick any of the weapons. We know what they do. And that's bold. That's something a spy would do. You just grab something and you commit to it. And I approve. Point for you. And what I just need you to guess what it's going to do. Can you take a guess at it for me?
In my opinion, like in my mind, I did think it blew bubbles and like it kind of just like it spat those out. But you know what? It's going to have a spy element. So I think it is going to put out bubbles, but it's going to be like, I was thinking electric shock, but they already have that. So I don't think that it could be acidic or hear me out because it does look like a kid item. What if it was just like little like gas bombs, like those things you got from the ice cream man and it made it smell real bad. And it just made it stink real bad. I think it's a stink gun.
I like that.
Heartily approve of that. And I feel like, it could just be really toxic. And especially because it's like a kid's spy toy. Like, I feel like kids are kind of more immune to gross things, but adults would just run out of there. and like
Yeah,
abandoned
they
shit
can't
real
take that.
fast.
There's already so much bad stuff adults are dealing with. They're not going to smell a bad smell.
Perfect. Well put. I think you're absolutely right. I think we've uncovered the secret. You now know the mysteries of that little weird floppy gun. And it is now yours. Katelynn, last item. What are you buying? Or
man, I get another one? Cool. I'm going to get, man, there's just so many good things.
It's so hard to bring it down to one.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to Floop's Island. We're gonna go to this Flugely land. And I'm gonna straight up steal I'm gonna steal Floop himself. I would like to buy this person.
ultimate spy gear.
Running away with Floop. He's very creative. He's got a lot.
He's probably on a lot of drugs. He seems like a Pee Wee Herman-esque type person.
Yes.
He's creepy, but also, I don't know. He's just creepy.
He's
but I
really
will
good
take
with
him.
clay. So if you ever have a school project or
Yeah.
something, I feel
Yeah.
like he could get that shoebox school project done in seconds for you.
You know
So-
why I want him though is because he is really after success, and I feel like in our area we can totally put him in Hollywood. We can get him like a show, and we can make it okay and sell it to like Nickelodeon. Or I just feel see him
You're
as like
just-
a cash
you're
cow.
not going
I'm
for,
gonna
like,
be his
yeah.
agent. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I'm gonna make a lot of money from this investment I'm making right now.
You know what? No one in the spy universe seems to be like getting like, paid a ton for the amount of like risk they're putting to their life. So I do appreciate you're just straight going for the money.
Oh yeah,
And just
And
making
straight up
that
grabbing
happen.
a man.
I grabbed the
straight
man.
up stealing a man out of this film. That's brilliant, creative, and I love that you're just totally turning.
I
him
like
into a
totally could have
cash
took
cow.
the VR room or something.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
shit you could have took, and I like that you grabbed just
Just
Floop.
a bit.
You know what? I
himself.
grabbed
There's
Floop.
like mini cameras. You've got an airplane that
Yep.
does some.
I was
cool
thinking about the
things.
airplane.
Little respirators that allow you to breathe underwater for what
You know what?
seems like
But
an
Floop-
unlimited time.
Bloop could make me that VR area.
He could.
That's
He could
true.
do that.
You know what? I approve. I'm gonna allow it. You get Floop. Floop is now yours. Cassie, last item.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, so there's 3 items that I really want. The first one is obviously Mom's spy chair that's on a track to move, because that's just fun. That's just fun. I'm not going to pick that though. I feel like I need to pick the iconic Spy Kids glasses that are just a computer, because I feel like those are obviously the cool tech that you immediately think of along with their little watch, but I'm not going to pick either of those. What I am going to pick is the cement silly string, because I feel like it's already like basically there, and to have it actually be cement, I would enjoy that.
Cement?
Cement. I totally approve. The only danger I could see is you confusing this or thinking it is just regular silly string and just really
all my cans of
fucking
silly
some
string. I
things
would
up.
have to keep them separate of all the silly string I keep around. It's real
You
dangerous for me,
always
but
have silly string on you.
I have a
so-
love for it.
So yeah, that could be it. I'm gonna buy one last item just because I think it'd be fun. And I thought of it after losing the electro gum to Cassie. I'm gonna take that acidic crown along with me because I just feel like it'd be really harmless
acid crayon?
looking.
Oh, yeah.
And
I forgot
just
about
to
that.
draw shapes and then have them melt through things. Would
That's
be
pretty
very
rad.
fun. Yep. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'd probably just turn into a really bad like tagger or something and destroy a lot of property and turn to vandalism. But we're running with it. That's now who I am. I'm just becoming this person. And we are going to take a quick break, lug all our awesome shopping surprises off to home or wherever we're taking them. And when we get back, we're going to get back into this film and specifically Floop, who is now in Katelynn's possession. We'll take a quick break now. All right. So for the majority, words are hard. For the majority of this film, we are led to believe that Floop is the villain, the bad guy, until it is revealed that Minion, or should I say Mr. Minion, is actually the bad guy controlling Floop and his creative disasters, emphasized when he traps Floop in the virtual room. And we also know that the members of the OSS are evil as well. There's basically a lot of bad guys in this movie. But we still see Floop create monstrous clay heads for former spies, willingly help brain melt them, and throw tantrums and physically abuse them on the set of his TV show. Taste buds, I ask you this. Are we actually supposed to believe that Floop is a well-meaning but easily manipulated kids TV show host? Or is he the true villain and mastermind of this film because he did bad things and gets to celebrate with the heroes by the end?
Yeah, he's definitely for sure a villain. And like, it's even that time where you see him in the VR room with Junie and they're like really like connecting. Like, he's still like an insane man. That is still a man you cannot trust. And like, at no point was I like, I would love to sit down with this dude and like just hang out. Like, there's clearly like, you can't trust him. And like, even when he kept like no, he's a monster. He's the worst.
He's a really bad guy, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest shock I took away from this is watching as an adult, because as a kid, I truly believed all the other people were the villains and he was just like the one that you were tricked to think was the villain. And then as an adult, I was like, oh my God, no, he's the villain that was so evil. He got away with still being a villain and treated like a hero at the end. Like, that's every villain's dream.
Yeah.
It blew
it's
my
because
mind.
like, he seemed like the hero to us because they made him kid-like by the end.
Yeah.
And we were rooting for the kids the whole time. So we were like, now he's one of them. But now as an adult, when I don't have this dumb child brain, I was like, I still, like, that man should be locked up.
Yes.
Put him away. He can't still be creating things. Don't give him a show still. The show, it's like, I attribute him is the same creator to whoever created Teletubbies. Like, that is
Yes.
a person who should not be creating content for children.
Also, he has such a fucked up mind because those fluglies are just the most terrifying looking creatures. Again, some of them have the fattest asses, and I think he has a thing with that. And Floop is the one who likes the big ass. But, I mean, he's consistent at least. But I mean,
he likes his fetish and he's not ashamed of it. He's just going to show it out there for that.
He has one really good aesthetic with his clay, and it is making fat asses. And the fact that he is the one who does create like what these spies are turning into, he is definitely a accomplice in everything that went wrong. Like with this, also he spent $1 million. That's it to create all of this spy stuff.
Yeah,
it only cost $1 million to run this TV show.
Was 19 years ago inflation.
Inflation.
I still feel like that's not enough.
Also, kid minds, that sounds like it is a lot of money, but like for my kid mind, I was like, that math
That
checks
makes
out.
sense.
That seems about right.
Yeah.
I'm running the numbers right now. Give me a second.
They had a lot of
that's it.
electricity
Yeah,
and a lot of clearly like good scientific
Overhead.
advancements in this. But yeah, $1 million sounds like it'll cover it. That seems right.
For that green screen, probably.
Which the green screen, if we want to go back to that really quick, the green screen room, like it was a wild, like circular room that all of a sudden switched terrains when the virtual reality-ness came onto it. It was crazy.
It had a good like fog machine to create clouds.
Yes.
It was like that Disneyland ride, the California Soarin'. Like
Yes.
it probably could spray out some orange smell whenever you needed.
It probably
could've
created
turned
the
into a
whole
good
environment. Honestly, like it was a bit disappointing because he could really do anything with the virtual room, and he picked like weird sets for his TV show.
He
like
was a weirdo.
He picked like what is that, Microsoft 89 backgrounds. Like I was expecting to see that hillside. Like that's all he had. Like he creates this insane show and he's like, now they're gonna be in the clouds.
We're going to make a music video today.
and I love that he like the whole time he's complaining that like my kids show needs more. It's just not there. But he has no concern that in the very intro he literally loses one of his floobly. What are they called? Fluglies. Fluglies. One of the Fluglies like falls off the rainbow that they're supposed to be sliding down, and he doesn't see a problem with that. There's no retake of that filming. He's like, no. It's not the poor filming or the poor acting by these manipulated, brain melted spies that I have. Something else is missing.
It's because he knew that Locky 2 was there to pick him up from the Rainbow Road and put him back on. It wasn't filmed, but Locky 2 is always there to bring you back.
That's true. I didn't consider the fact that they're just a little hook and cloud going to come out of the sky and whoop,
Yeah.
right
Pop him right back on there.
right back on the top. But yeah, I think like the ending of this film, I loved rewatching this film as an adult 100%, but I definitely was so dissatisfied. But the fact that like, as a kid, I was so led to believe he was a good guy. And as an adult, he's the ultimate villain.
Mm-hmm.
And it just like, I need them to address this. And I know they don't because they have like 3 more movies. And I don't think he ever comes back.
I don't think he does either. And I think that's why he didn't really make an effect on me. It was just like, this is like a side character to me enough where, yeah, he probably should have been a villain, but like, it doesn't matter because he's not like a big part of this anyways. He just made a TV show in the end, which I mean, they're all evil anyways, kids TV show people apparently. But I mean, he does say in the beginning when he does make these robot kids, like, like, this proves the point that he's an evil person. He says, in order to think big, you got to think small. And in that moment, I was thinking, did I forget the plot of Spy Kids? And are they actually creating this TV show in order to recruit kids in order to make this? Mm-hmm. I forgot, because he is evil. He's straight up evil in the first half of the movie.
But the first half of the movie, he's completely evil. And I feel like we're just asked to forget it. And as an adult, I will never forget that scene where he throws a tantrum on a set because the filming's just not right, and like kicks one of his floobies so they spin around in their harness. Just like storms off stage.
He does smack a little floobie. The part where it really showed me that like is irredeemable for him, and I knew he would always be a bad guy in my heart, was when he served up just like Nickelodeon slime, and was just enjoying that meal, really powering down this Nickelodeon slime in a baby spoon, but piling so much slime on this baby spoon.
Fuck.
And casually just eating as he just tortured and tormented
the whole spread of
parents.
Whatever they were eating, because it was slime. And it was like
Nickelodeon slime, Cubby Custard, and like your third grade slime science experiment.
And
is
the
like
great
what he
stuff
served
from
up.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, it was nasty as hell.
As a kid, did you think it looked good?
No, I just loved slime as a kid.
Yeah,
so I never wanted to eat it, but I did want to get my grubby little hands in there and try
I got a whole like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory type thing where it's like, yeah, I would not personally lick the wallpaper, but this is how this guy does it, because he's like, eccentric and like eats fucking goop, and it's probably the snot from all these fluglies.
I have to imagine to like make it was probably like yogurt or pudding that they like just
it's got to be pudding or something, because they ate it themselves.
They were eating it like a meal too, though.
Yeah.
And I just like, I have to like,
what's the
in
nutritional
this world,
content?
Yeah, like, are they just maybe that's how he's gone mad. He just has sugar 24/7 like day and like never gets any nutritional value, and that has led to his brain to run like a 2-year-old's.
I have come around on it, because I've made a discovery, you guys. Go-gurt.
Oh.
It's essentially Go-gurt, and I do get down on Go-gurt.
Okay, I will be honest. This was good marketing too, because as kids we had like purple ketchup and we did weird colored foods. So I honestly don't think I would have been too turned off. Although I never ate purple ketchup as a kid. I did think that was really gross, but I did eat like Gushers and things like that, which were hyperpigmented and real gross looking. But as a kid, they seem super cool. So I'm wondering if 7 or 8-year-old me would have been like, damn, I wanted dinner like that. Like, why are they complaining and looking distastefully at this food?
Listen, I think I've established I was a very intelligent child, and just like a 4.0 Dean student from the beginning. But I probably would have stuck my face straight in that bowl and slobbed up that slime.
Slobbered. But it does speak to like a villainous side to him a bit more too. There's a lot of qualities to Floop that we've touched on, and I'm proud of us for dissecting and getting really into the monstrous characteristics that this man has, and that I stand by it. He is the true villain of this film. And I think what makes him honestly the most successful villain of all time is that he was never caught. He got away with it and was promoted to living out his life for the rest of the days that he wanted in his way. He's free and forever will go down in my mind as like the ultimate villain. And
again, we were like, for this series, I know they've talked about Ocean's 11 because it's an 01 movie. Like, this was the ultimate con. It was him getting away the whole time. He was the duffel bag.
Exactly. He did it. Like, he did so much more than walk through a casino disguised as a SWAT team member. Like, he accomplished a lot more. He
infiltrated the system and got a TV show out of it. So
yeah. He gets to show his face in every public space and never worry about being, arrested or hated by other people. He's now celebrated and loved. And that's the ultimate con. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to go into, I guess, further proving that this is the ultimate con film of 2001 and maybe even the best film of 2001, because we're going to give out some awards. And we are back. I have quite a few awards. I need you to convince me that are just really making this movie worthy of all it can be worthy of. I have some awards that just apply to movies overall, and then some very specific awards that I need to have answered. And I'm excited to hear all of your answers on all of these things. And I will be rewarding you, giving you points depending on who does the best.
I'm so ready for this.
On this.
So I take it.
Just impress the hell out of me and you'll do well. And our first award is going to be the pound for pound performance. Cassie, can you tell me who was the best performance? Who just stood out as just artistic genius, future Oscar nominee, or dare I say winner, in this already like Oscar worthy film? So it's going to be tough to, just really rank all together because it's just a stellar star-studded cast, performance by everyone. Who do you deem the best?
And I feel like, so you said you want Oscar worthy, and I feel like you probably immediately think George Clooney for that, and they just didn't give him enough time for it. So this might be a hard sell because we just spent a whole segment dunking on his creepy ass, but I am saying Alan Cumming for pound performance because he sold the villain the whole time. Like when we thought he was the villain as a kid, like he was that unstable, like unsettled villain, but yet had a flair for dramatics. Like he had style. It was a weird style, but he had his own style. And then like there was never a moment where he did not fully commit to his character and not know that like what he was bringing. He walked onto that set and he knew immediately how to deliver every line, and he sold it. I think pound for pound, he knew what he had to do.
I think you've made an excellent argument. I do find myself nodding along with a lot of what you're saying. So, Katelynn, I need to know who your pound for pound best performance is from Spy Kids, and let's see, who gets the award.
Yeah, Cassie was talking about a lot about like the lines and like being able to hit the lines and like really do that. And I think the person I've chosen is definitely that's what they really got, and that's going to be Antonio Banderas' mustache. Really hit every single line and curve of his like lip, his upper lip. And I think without the mustache itself, this whole movie would have been a flop and would not have been the hit and for families and children alike. So yes, I would like to nominate Antonio Banderas' mustache.
Antonio Banderas' mustache does do a lot of work in this film, and
it does.
Contributes to the
It gets
success.
a lot of airtime, and it does get a lot of touching up. Like it's there. It's a prominent character, and
it's the only one we see get like on screen, almost like makeup touch up. In moments, so it truly shows how big of a deal it is. This mustache is.
Mustache was a bit of a diva on the film, on set, but
I thought you were gonna say Antonio Banderas, and I was going to scream at you.
Yeah,
because he was the worst part, like the worst actor in this.
I really thought you were going with Antonio Banderas too, and I was like, second, it's Mr. Minion. Clearly, like I don't know where you're going with this.
Oh, 100%. I debated between Mr. Minion and Alan Cumming. Who's Mr. Monk? I don't know the actor's name. He's always Monk in mind.
Mr. Monk is his name. That's it. No, it's Tony Shalhoub.
That's it for sure. But yeah, wow. I need to calm down because I thought you were saying Antonio Banderas.
That's his mustache.
I was very prepared to just take away some points because I thought you were going with Antonio Banderas, and I was very annoyed that Mr. Minion for his just. He would have my vote only because he so casually takes being turned into like the little like mutated version of himself so well.
Oh yeah, he's so fine with it.
Great acted because he's just like, who cares? That scene stayed with me.
He's like, I think I can reverse it. Fuck it, let's go for it.
It's fine, and that really sold it. But as much as the mustache does stay online very well and it does do a lot of work. I have to give this to Alan Cumming just because the mustache disappears in the final scenes. He's not there for the final moments of.
He's at the beginning, the end. He's smashed up against a window. Like he does a lot of work,
but he didn't put in all the work.
A lot of lip work.
Alan Cumming was the creepiest, and it's really hard to play a villain that convinces everyone they're good. And Alan Cumming does manage that. So point to you, Cassie. We are ready for our next award to give out. And this award is going for the cringiest moment. I think there's quite a few that we could choose from in this particular film. But I also think that the cringy moments kind of make the film what it is. So, Katelynn, let's start with you. What is the cringiest moment from Spy Kids, in your opinion?
Well, first of all, you said we're going to give an award for cringiest moment, and I had to come back to you and tell you that I didn't feel like this is a cringy movie. It is a very good movie.
And I came back and said you are wrong. find something to come with, because that is
I have
incorrect.
something. I wouldn't call it cringy though. I would say that it was something that really, really tickled my insides, which is a weird thing to say.
That moment right there, cringiest.
I think we have found the cringiest moment of this episode, this podcast, right in that line.
But what I'm going to nominate for the cringiest moment is there is a moment when they're in the safe house and the OSSs come in and they're like, we need to save you guys. Like the Floop is actually the bad guy, right? Mm-hmm. And they show them the theme song of Floop's Flugalies and they're like, no, these are all agents and they're just asking for help. Watch, let's play it backwards. And they play it backwards.
A genius moment.
The fucking genius. Like we're over here playing, what was that one CD? Like AC/DC or something.
Yeah.
Dark Side of the Moon.
The Dark Side of the Moon, play it backwards. No, we're going to play Flugalies backwards. And it's going to say, save us, we're being held hostage. Help us, save us, we're being held hostage. Like,
look, that got a good laugh out of us. I don't know, on your watch, that one got a good laugh.
I died.
did not remember that.
That didn't I, and I love that they replay it with showing them, so they're like sliding backwards up the rainbow slide, and they're like waving their arms, help us, save us, we're being captured. It was just so good.
It's funny.
It was very good. I did love
I don't think that even qualifies as cringe because I truly enjoyed that moment. I did not want to fast
enjoyed
forward.
this whole movie, so.
I could rewatch it a dozen times and not want to see it. Yeah, like, you know, like cringe moments are the moments that you just want to skip over. So I don't know if I'm quite convinced. Cassie, please give me a cringy moment for this category.
Yeah. We've kind of talked about like my two big ones. The first one obviously is when Antonio Banderas comes in his pants.
Oh, yeah.
He acts so bad in it, and the fact that it just happens, I don't need it. I hate that moment.
It doesn't
but the one
add.
It adds nothing. Like, they didn't need to make that the reason she came on the mission. There was so many other options, and yet they went with that. Like, look at how good she fucks. She could come on a mission. I hate it. I hate it so much. That's a very strong one. But the cringiest moment for me, I think, was the fact that they had to make a sexy thumb nurse. Like, they didn't need to be a sexy, like, pinky thumb nurse. Like, it could have been just a robot. It could have been a thumb in itself. A pinky thumb robot, okay?
Or maybe not pinky finger.
No, a pinky thumb, okay? With a crack nail and everything.
She
But it did have a crack nail.
But it was sexy. And it didn't need it. It was a shortcut dress. Like, that's a fucked up person who made that. It's like the sexy gremlin. Like, nobody needs either of these things.
And they still exist. I don't know why there's always this thing in children's movies. And I don't know if they're doing it for the adults that have to take their kids, but there's always like this need to go too far with one thing and try to make it sexy. It's just a consistent like trope in movies. We see it a lot, and I don't know how many more times I can take it because it does cringe. I still think the Antonio Banderas coming in his pants is much cringier. I actually
blocked that one out completely. So
it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It's so atrocious. I do think like there's some moments of this film that were like hard to watch, but I think it's mostly due to Antonio Banderas' acting, and that doesn't necessarily mean cringe. That just means bad acting, which is an entirely different thing.
Can I just come in here and say that I watched this movie and my family got on board for this movie because we were all huge Antonio Banderas fans? Like,
that doesn't mean he can act, which he cannot.
I never saw him as a bad actor.
I've seen him in several things, and I've always thought he was a bad actor. Like,
really?
Even child me was always like, oh, it's that dance movie with the bad actor guy. Like
the Zorro. Oh my God, he was so good in Zorro.
Can't do it. He can do physical comedy better than I expected out of him, so that I'll give him. Like when he smushes his face. Yeah, that's where he sold it. That one was so good. I was like, fuck, look at him there. Everywhere else, get him off the screen. I didn't need
comedy, but I also think that scene in particular was very much aided by the sound effects.
Yeah.
So without the like taking off the little like sound, I don't know if it would have worked as well, but he does do some good physical comedy. I also love that like he's a super spy but they did make him look very small next to the bully's dad.
Yes, I was thinking that was the exact moment I was thinking when he has that moment in his mind where he like punches and throws the bully's dad, and all the kids come around and he's like, "Yay, I did it!" Like all these kids are so happy, and then you zoom back into real life and he's like just walks away from this big bully dad.
that moment, the fighting moment, I was fine with, but I did find a little cringe when like Junie ran towards him, like all slow dramatic. Like that's a bit cringe for me too.
In the flash, like
like in his little imagination, he was like, "My kid's gonna think I'm a hero." But I'm sorry, Katelynn, you're really losing this race because Cassie, you're gonna have to win the award for a cringe moment. That Katelyn's moment was hilarious. It's not a moment I wanted to fast forward through whatsoever in this film.
Love that moment.
It's so good. And for our next award, I need you to give me what you consider to be the director's signature moment. This is kind of the first movie I saw of director Robert Rodriguez. He later went on to direct all of the rest of the Spy Kid movies, Dougal, some movies from Shark Boy and Lava Girl, other things I know you've seen. And I just really need to know your thoughts on him as a director and his signature moment in this particular movie. We'll start with Cassie.
Okay, so for me, I think his signature move, which I love and I'm like, I think it's really cool, is his focus on like Hispanic culture. Because like when I was a child, I was very smart, but also an absolute fucking idiot. So it never crossed my mind really that they were like Hispanic and had this strong Spanish background where so much of it was like proudly like Hispanic down to their names, everything about them. It focused on like their culture. And that is something he brings to like all of his movies.
Yep.
So, and because he's done a couple with Machete, which is so rad, but, it's just like, it's something that I think would be cool, specifically in the Spy Kids thing for a young kid to see like just these two Hispanic kids like kicking ass and have this badass family that can create all these cool things, go on these cool missions. Like that's rad as fuck. And I feel like if it would have been anybody else, the fact that they had like long names would have been like a shitty joke they made. But for this one, it was just like, it was straight up from her perspective, like, I don't use it, it's too long. But then by the end, she became proud of her name. So I think it's cool to have that perspective in like a genre that you don't expect it. This spy movie for kids, like you would have never expected to focus on Spanish culture so much, but it does.
Yeah, that was really fucking cool. Cassie, you came in here and you
follow that. Get it, girl.
Well, there's one thing that I know about Robert Rodriguez, and it is that he did Spy Kids, and that it is that he also did Shark Boy and Lava Girl. And there is a really big connector between those two films in particular, which is going to be something that really changed my life, everyone's life, culture, everything.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's sharks. It's sharks, guys.
Fucking Shark Week.
There's Shark Boy, and then there's sharks in the Spy Kids movie. I guess I did look into Alita Battle Angel, which he also did, and I thought there was going to be a shark in there since they do go underwater, and I'm just going to assume that there's a shark there too, a CGI shark. But
listen, nobody will fact check it. Say there's a shark in there.
Fine.
There's a shark. There's a shark in Sin City. Machete has a shark, I'm sure. Yeah, I really think he likes CGI sharks. Another thing that is really big with him, though, is very obvious, like, cheap CGI. And he, like... is
that a conscious choice, or is that a budget choice?
To flip it, he does work on tight budgets.
He does. Actually, I'm going to switch it to that. The fact that he works with tight budgets and he's able to effectively use the budget that he has to create amazing movies like Spy Kids or like Alita Battle Angel or like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, because he's very practical with the stuff that he uses. Like Cassie pointed out, when they are in Floop's Flugelies making the Flugely, the whole bed is set upon some lava lamps. Like, it is on lava lamps. The restraints that they have are children's toys.
Yes!
That's a toy you could buy at Walmart.
Those
I
are
did have that.
like rings, like that kids play with, are teething rings. Like, there's so many practical things in here. Like, oh yeah, that's just a piece of this, which I mean, George Lucas did.
Tech things they like actively hit too.
Let me finish.
I'm so sorry.
Let me finish. I'm comparing Robert Rodriguez to George Lucas right now, which how he created the lightsaber of just like, the flash bulb thing for cameras. Robert Rodriguez is over here, changing the world. Top that, Cassie.
I already did. Like, Books, I will let you talk now. You don't listen to the shit she's saying.
Cassie,
go on with the point you were making.
I feel like you're trying to kiss my ass a bit.
Budget effective. He's budget effective.
I'm not sure if that deserves a point or take away a point. We've had a lot of ass in this film, though, or in this recording. This episode's got a lot of talk about ass. So we're just gonna move forward. I will say, budget friendly does seem like a theme, like a director's moment.
Choice.
I shouldn't be backing her, but he did become known off of, I think, now I shouldn't probably be saying this, but I think he became known off of Machete, which I know it had $7,000 budget. And I think that's what got him big. So he does, I shouldn't be backing her, but he does work with tight budgets.
He does work with tight budgets. And I'm pretty sure he did a lot of the editing like at home in like his garage
did a really
editing
good job
studio.
At like making it part of the world rather than something that it's like it takes you out of this world. It more like it seems like it's part of it. And like I didn't like the children's restraint, like the children's teething toys that were restraints. I didn't think one thing about it. It was just like, this is obviously Floop's like weird place. He obviously has restraint that looks like kids' toys. Like it didn't take you out of it at any point. I feel like it more added to it. So go at it, Robert Rodriguez. Kill those budgets. Balance
there's
my
like
books.
smart writing too, because it's like you just need like a basic snorkel gear. We're just gonna retrofit this to be things, and then like
put some
the
body
tiniest camera, like you just don't see it. So now we don't need to design anything.
Yeah.
Also very good. It's just his finger. Fucking funny. It's good. There's good jokes in this movie.
So yeah, there was some good, and I think you have sold me. I think I initially was gonna go with the culture. I think that representation is really important. I think it's definitely a part of like his signature moment, but I also think it's not like a specific moment. I think that's everything he does because it's the world he's a part of and he knows. So I think it's more than just a choice. It's like coming from an identity perspective.
And Cassie's, to support Cassie's though, I feel like it's more of just Hispanic culture because like in Shark Boy and Lava Girl, you don't have too much Hispanic culture, but you do have a bunch of other like diverse characters and things like that. So I feel like he likes to be inclusive with diversity in like his film. So I'll give you, I'll say that, but I don't think you hit it like on the head with.
But I think I don't think it's necessarily like the signature moment is that he does low budget films, but that he creatively works around the low budget he has.
He makes high budget films with low budget is what I would like to say.
I don't know if we can call them high budget, but creative
there you go.
films with low budgets, and you're gonna get Katelynn
takes $1 million and he makes a bunch of flooglies and thums.
Honestly, actually, that goes back to defend Floop's show because he doesn't need $1 billion. He's working on the same budget as Robert Rodriguez.
Oh shit! There you go.
And
Full
he
circle.
doesn't even need that much. Look at that. We've connected all of this. And it's time for our last two awards, our final two. And the next one I want you guys to answer. I think it's Katelyn's turn to go first. Katelynn, what is the best sibling moment? This movie is about spies, a movie about family, but it's mostly a movie about siblings. And I need you to tell me what's the best sibling defining moment in this entire movie.
There's a lot of moments where you see the siblings interact and they're like fighting or something, and it's funny because it's like relatable. But there's a moment when the siblings come together finally. They're like put aside like their fights and stuff like that and realize that they have to work together. And it's when they're at Machete's house and they have to wake up early in order to steal everything from Machete and then like totally come onto the island by themselves. So they have to prep to do that. So their early morning prep where they pull out their little glow sticks from underneath their pillows, like fucking badasses, and then start putting everything together, read a whole manual on how to fly a plane in like an hour, and then leave Machete's house and go to Flugley's Island, like the Flugley's Island. Like that was the best moment. Floop's Island, sorry.
Yeah, I think that's a great moment to highlight on because it really did like turn in the movie where they started realizing they had to work together. And it was also like that moment they realized a wake up call of like, my dad has this brother that we've never met because they couldn't seem to get their shit together.
Yeah.
Let's not be like them. So great job, Cassie. What is the ultimate sibling moment in your opinion?
Okay, you were very close to it because so for you, sibling moments are like when you come together and not the arguing. For me, it is the arguing, and that is when you are a real sibling, because that's how you really show love to each other. So I'm saying the moment is the moment directly after yours, when they are flying that plane that they just learned how to, and they are just fucking roasting the shit out of each other. It's Carmen who's constantly like insulting him, and he's like, don't call me another one, and she doubles down immediately without a second thought and calls him booger breath, and then like she gets...
That is
booger breath is very good.
Insult.
Which is like, that's a sibling pull to pull like that one out. Like that's not a mainstream one. She pulled out booger breath and that's for a reason.
Yes.
And then it's the real sibling moment is when Junie lets her go for a while and he's like, you better stop. And real younger sibling energy is to save one devastating comment just to end it all. Like, you don't need to like go back and forth with her. You just need one at the end, and it's her greatest shame that she is the one in diapers. She's the little diaper baby, and he pulls it out right at the end and ends it. So that's my best sibling moment.
And then she gets so mad that she crashes a plane, then blames him for it too.
Also, very good sibling moments. When the older sibling screws up, you blame the younger sibling, no matter what. Will always be a go-to. And it's a safe go-to, because you can make younger siblings feel stupid. So it works. It completely works. I am so torn right now. I think these are both really great sibling moments. Katelynn, I'm surprised you went with such a wholesome one. It just doesn't feel very on brand, but I just appreciate
the moment
it.
when they pull out the glow sticks from underneath the pillows, it hit me. I was like, oh my god, this is so fucking cool. Look at them go. Oh my god. Well, the way that Junie pulls it out specifically and how long his glow stick is.
His is the glow stick sword that you get from the 99 store. It's not a glow stick, it's a sword.
It's a fucking sword. And
it's the one we all pretended were sabers as a kid.
Yes. Yeah. He just looks so intense on his face, like, I'm fucking ready to do this. Yeah.
So, Cassie, I love your moment. I think it defines like sibling moments everywhere, every sibling across the universe related to it, no matter what. I am going to go with Katelynn's because your sibling moment is for siblings all across the world. Katelynn's is a sibling moment specific to spy families. And I do think that defines the sibling moment of this particular film a bit better. So, Katelynn, you get the point. And we are coming up on our last award, and this award could tie it or give the lead officially to Cassie. And you know, it's a close game right here. We are only one of you can win. I'm hoping for a come up. I really want to be my own best friend, so we'll see what happens. But final question, final award. We have to give an award for the spyest spy. Who is the best spy of this film, Cassie?
Okay. All right. Now I want you to think of like the type of people we put on the Rushmore. It was a lot of badass women who get shit done.
It was.
So I think obviously the best spy in this film is Carmen. She kicks total ass. There was no second that she wasn't ready to be a spy. She didn't know she was training to be a spy, but as soon as she was thrown in that environment, she was like, fuck it. Okay, we're here. I'm going to learn this shit. I'm going to lead my little brother. I'm going to like kick every adult's ass that I come across. And I am going to bring like my family together. At the end, when they recruit the kids, she's the one who's like, no, you bring the family along. She is the linchpin here and the most badass spy.
That is a very good argument, man.
It was very obvious that Carmen is the best spy of this movie. Like, I can't even not agree with you. I can't even pick someone who's like second best. She is obviously the best spy of the movie. She brings everyone together. Like, Junie is a great second, and like, I'm sure I know he will do better in the future.
I think Ingrid
Carmen
might be the best second. To be honest, I think it's the mom.
The mom?
The mom.
She's good, but in this movie, she doesn't show off like as much as Carmen does. Like, Carmen starts at the bottom, like doesn't know she's a spy, becomes a spy, and then saves the whole family and becomes like the head of the household spy-wise.
Carmen has the most growth. I agree 100%. Ingrid, we just see awesome wig changes and jacket changes in a very fast-paced environment, and I think that is all I need qualified as a spy. So
she also keeps a photo of the person she's looking for in her fucking breast pocket. Like
okay, but she uses her wedding ring as a laser. She's the one that gets out of the ropes. Clearly, Antonio Banderas, shit, I forgot his name already, is just real rusty. He's not ready to come out of retirement, but she seems like she is. I feel like the argument could be made for her to be ready. Cassie, you are going to get this point, though, because you technically went first. You're the...
Yes.
You gave the
default. I love to win by default. Thank you so much.
And
this is an honor.
Gets a point for it.
You get the point.
This is exactly how I want my life to go. I love this.
Yeah, I do think it's definitely a default win, but it's still a win nonetheless. So you get that point for that award. And that's it for our awards. I think we have really gone into this award-winning movie, as it now can be said. It has won several awards in several different categories, which qualifies it as possibly the best of 2001, in my opinion. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're really going to determine who the winner is. I know we've kind of pre-announced stuff, but a lot can happen in a little break, so who knows if Cassie's going to turn out the best or not. And we're back. I did the calculations again. It is still Cassie. Cassie, you are officially my best friend.
By default.
It's still a win is a win, okay? That counts 100%.
don't want to be this person too. Cassie got 2 points ahead by default. She was already 1 point ahead. So as far as Katelynn goes, I know you want it to be that Cassie only won by default. I do have to be fair. Cassie was already a whole point ahead before she got that default point. So Cassie, you are my best friend. As of right now, I feel like you've won the biggest award of all this entire show. So congratulations.
Thank you. It feels like it 100%. I really appreciate it. I know just your friendship is an award, but I am going to make a little plaque for myself and hang it up as well.
Good, because I don't put much budget into my friendships, so I'm not going to send you shit.
Okay. Fair enough.
But like,
I'm over here like Robert Rodriguez, and I'm like a master of budgets. So what I'm gonna do is, Cassie, I'm gonna make you the best plaque ever. Mm-hmm. But not only am I gonna make it, I'm gonna make sure that there's gonna be a tiny camera on there to always watch over you, and then it's gonna have speakers on there, and then you can play Bluetooth through it too, because I am a budget master.
This sounds like she's kind of being a villain in disguise and trying to come out as the good guy. Like
we all knew she was.
Yeah, I'm getting some Floop vibes from Dougal right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Come look at my fluglies.
And I do think normal. Out of all of us, you're probably the floopiest.
The floopiest.
I think you're the floopiest of this trio.
I've been called the fallopian tube of the group, you know?
Oh.
God damn it. Damn it. Fuck right off.
It took me a whole second because it's not pronounced that way and I didn't know what you were saying. But once I got there and made the connection, I hated it more. So thank you.
I watched it all happen in your face, and listeners, you didn't get to watch that, and it was beautiful. You probably heard it. Yeah.
Well, we are running out of time. I think we have done a brilliant job. I think we've discussed all that we can about this brilliant movie, except for the thumbs. I think we could go further with the thumbs.
Oh, there's so much more about the thumbs. If they want to bring us on again to have a whole segment just about thumbs, a whole episode, it's not ready. A movie, but it should be.
It should be. You know how like a lot of children's films had like the breakout characters, like Madagascar had like the penguins in Madagascar.
I'm telling you, like the Minions movie.
Yeah. Yes, they like took off and did their own thing. We need a thumb film. That's the 100. True forgotten film we never got. But we are running out of time, and we just have a few things to share with you before we go and say goodbye. So, Cassie, can you tell us where everyone can find a little bit more about your PopFilter?
Oh my gosh, I sure can. You guys, they're everywhere. You can't avoid them. And let me tell you, the first spot you're going to want to go, yourpopfilter.com. That's where everything Your Pop Filter lives. Anything you want and whatever that sentence means to you, it's there. Go ahead and check it out and see what it is. And you know what? It's the website looks really good. I will say that because it's brought to you by Sour Sprout. Fuck yeah. Another website you should go to, patreon.com/yourpopfilter, where you get that extra content. And let me tell you, there's some good content that I myself am in charge of, and it's worth your money. So go ahead and check that out. Also, another website you should check out. We are getting towards the holiday seasons, possibly past the holiday seasons, but you're still going to be buying stuff and you still want to fuck over Jeff Bezos. So go ahead and go to amazon.com/yourpopfilter. A little bit of money goes their way.
That is brilliant. Yes, do visit all those sites. Do support the show. That would be really, really helpful. Speaking of shows, Dougal, can you talk about some other shows that listeners might be interested in checking out?
Yeah. There's one really cool show that we actually, all three of us are on. It's called Unnatural 20's. And it can be found on any of your favorite podcast app. And it's where us three go on and talk about things that we like. We talk about all different topics, but guess what? It's hard for us to figure out what we want to talk about. So we use a D20 in order to guide us on our adventure. So you should come adventure with us on Unnatural 20's every Monday. And also there's some other shows from Your Pop Filter, like Superhero Show, which is a really good one too, where they talk about all the superhero shows based upon a comic book or comic book property. Love that one. Big fan. Got me into Smallville, and now I'm stuck on this train, and it's going to be a sad one when it crashes. And now another show that they do is a good one.
Movie of the year. You're listening to it now. And the other host
know about it.
Yeah, you already know about that one.
You normally get your boys, Mike, Ryan, Greg. of course, Greg, the best friend, my man, Greg.
I love Greg, man.
So I hope you know about that one because somehow you found this episode, which is on that show.
I hope you know what the fuck this show's about.
This is movie of the year. Like
you made
Google
it this far.
said, you can also check out Superhero Show and Unnatural 20's if you're not sick of us yet. Cassie hosts Superhero Show, so you can get more of her there. We are all hosts of Unnatural 20, so you can get more of us there, which I know you're dying for. Social media is also a place you can find some more content, right? You can find your PopFilter on Twitter. They tweet lots of cool stuff, pose lots of interesting questions. They're really cool on Twitter. You can also find us on Twitter, right? Unnatural 20's.
Yeah, you can.
Am I allowed to promote our show? It's not our show, but let's talk about
this
our
was
show.
a takeover, so yeah, go ahead.
Takeover. Follow at Unnatural 20's on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook because we are so cool. We have all three platforms. You can find us everywhere. We don't only take over other people's shows, we take over the internet.
Woo!
Cassie, if they want to contact the boys, maybe even us, I doubt they'd send a message off to us, but if they want to contact them, how can they contact your PopFilter?
Well, you can reach out through social media. They're desperate for attention. You can do it either way. They also have an email if you prefer that. It's contact@yourpopfilter. We are also thirsty. If you want our email, I'm going to continue promoting our stuff too.
Yeah.
Unnatural20s@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And you can reach out, email, or whatever there. Let us know how good we did on this episode through email on both of our emails. Thank you very much.
Quench all of our thirsts. We're thirsty. We're like camels.
We're so
and
needy.
we have so many backs that need to be filled.
Yeah, we're very, very needy. We need your attention. Tune into our shows. Contact us. Talk to us. Follow us on social media. That would just be very, very helpful. I'm sure you've enjoyed this show. I'm sure you will be rejoining us next week when, maybe we'll still be on the show. We'll probably hand it back over to Mike, Ryan, Greg. I'm not really sure. Who knows what we'll decide. We're living
Unless
that
the
spy
people
life.
chant and they send emails saying that they want us, and then we're officially obligated to take it over. So
You have to do it in the
Yes.
flugely talk, though. Like,
send
You
it
have to send
backwards.
the message backwards and we will decode it. And that's how we will know that we have officially been invited to take over the show forever. But thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it and send that message backwards on over to them and tell them you don't want them anymore. You want us forever. We understand. It makes sense. And keep watching them movies.